Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to some more Endless Scrap Mechanic. Today, I wanted to try and start a brand new series on the channel, and that is Lego to Life in Scrap Mechanic. So what that means is I will be recreating Lego builds and sets in Scrap Mechanic, trying to pay as close attention to detail as possible. So if you guys have any suggestions for different Lego sets or builds that you would like to see me try and recreate, then let me know down in the comments below. And the great thing about Lego as well is all of the builds and sets come with an identification number. So if you have that number as well, it will help me in the search for reference material and to see if it's something I even want to build. So with that said, this week we are going to start the series off with a heavy-duty tow truck. Now this is a Lego Technics build, which means it's not so much conventional Lego, and it's more has like some customized parts that you can use to create a more detailed build. So this is a really awesome tow truck that has a ridiculous amount of features that I tried to create in Scrap Mechanic. Overall, I am extremely happy with the way the build turned out, and I'm really excited to show you this, so let's check it out. So here's the Lego Technics heavy duty tow truck. Now I will mention that this is currently welded to the ground because there's so many moving parts, and I try to get as much detail as possible into this build that it does drop a decent amount of frames. Now the original version of this truck did include suspension, but now I don't have any suspension anymore. So as far as the detail goes and matching it to the Lego set, I'm really happy with how it all turned out. I did have to make some minor modifications, of course, for Scrap Mechanic's sake, but there are so many moving parts, and I'm going to show you each and every one of them. Alright, so the truck is no longer welded to the ground, and you can see the frames have dropped, but I mean, it's really not that bad, and when there was suspension, it was really unbearable. So here we go. We got all sorts of buttons and switches at our disposal on this truck. So the first thing we can do is we can press 1, and that is going to open up the front hood and reveal our engine inside. Now, in this version here, those don't move, but I do have an alternate, very laggy version where the pistons inside of this motor actuate, and you can see them all going up and down in a sequence just to add a touch of detail. So we can of course just press 1 again, and that will shut the hood down, and then 2 is really awesome. This is all of our stabilizer. So when I press 2, you can see those legs come down on the side there. Now there is also another one on this side here, and the cool thing about these is actually the fact that they are used by piston. So you can see here there is a piston right there, and that is the thing that moves the arm up and down. And then over here on the back I have another set of stabilizers as well, and those are just pistons that point straight down, but they take them off of the ground really well, and it does stabilize extremely well too. So here's just more of a close-up of those moving. You can see the piston retracts and it brings it right back in again, and of course if I press the switch you can see it drops back down. Now another thing I had a lot of fun adding was the flashing lights on the top of the cab here of this truck, and you can see they blink in a sequence from left to right, but they also rapidly blink on their own as well. And I figured that was just like a really nice way to get this lighting setup going. It gives it like almost like a really nice emergency effect. So the 4 switch is simply just a guide mechanism for that crane. So right now when I drop it down like this, you can see it goes nice and flush to the ground, and so that's when you're using the crane. Now if you want to put the crane away and start driving and not have it spin around, then of course you can bring those up again. So now 5 and 6 are the buttons that are utilized for the crane movement from side to side. So 5 is going to move it counterclockwise, and then 6 is going to move it clockwise in the opposite direction there, and then 7 is the piston activated arm. So as you can see, there are 2 pistons mounted to this hydraulic system. Now originally I only had the 1 piston, and it was kind of enough force to move it up and down, but if I wanted to actually use the crane system to lift up cars or flip them or tow them, then I needed extra strength. So in the end I ended up putting 2 of the pistons there. And so another function that I added, and remember, these are all functions from the Lego build. I tried to replicate this as best as I could, and this is another one that it could do. And the Technics Lego has all sorts of really cool gear mechanisms that make that happen. So in this case, though, I have a really awesome piston extension here, and as you can see, our boom arm gets much longer like so, and we get a much longer reach on it. And that is another reason why I needed the extra strength on those pistons, because, you know, this thing gets pretty long. So once you have your boom extended fully and all of the stuff is in position, you can press 9 and 0 together. And what that's going to do is it's going to move both of these hooks all the way down to the ground, just like so. So this is what it looks like with everything deployed. I mean, I guess we could open up the hood there as well. So this is the full build. Now, well, actually, that's the full build from the driver's seat. So if we hop out of the seat, there are some other functions as well. So one thing this can do is it can tow vehicles. So back here, we have a T-bar system to mount a vehicle. So if I press this switch right here, you can see that it lowers the entire thing down, and this is where the wheels would sit right there in the middle. And then we can use this switch here to lift it up and then pretty much just kind of lock itself in place. And so these are all also used by pistons as well. You can see all of these pistons are the things that are moving them. There are no bearings that are being used on any of the controllers at all. And so that was, of course, to add a sense of realism from the Lego build, because there were some really cool mechanisms on that as well. And of course, it adds a lot of strength too. So over here, I have a mud running truck that has gone into an accident. It has flipped over. Don't worry, the driver is all right. So we got our tow truck though, and we're gonna use it for a few different things. So right now the truck is of course upside down. We're going to use the tow truck to flip it back up onto its side, and then of course back down onto the wheels again. And then we're also going to use the tow truck to grab the front of it, and we're going to tow it out of there back to safety. Here we go, we're in the truck, and this is a good chance to get a quick look at the crane mechanism seated in the center there. And of course, if I press 4, that drops those blocks down and frees it for the spinning. But we're going to keep it locked in place for now while we make our way to this overturned truck. Now, I find it's better to be a little too close to the vehicle than too far away, so that way you can actually get those crane hooks in place. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull up next to it here. We're not going to get too close or anything. Okay, right about there. This is looking like a good spot. So the first thing we're going to do is deploy our ground stabilizers. There we go, and you can even see the wheels come up off the ground a little bit. And now we're going to drop down the securing mechanism on the crane. We're going to press 7 to get the crane arm up. And so now we should be able to just press 5. There we go. We're going to rotate the crane. Okay, so we got to make sure we are able to get underneath that truck there. So we're going to lower the hooks. So I think what I want to do in this case is I'm going to lower the arm down just like so, and then I'm going to extend the boom out. And look at this. So now we're dragging the hooks along the ground, and I'm thinking what I might be able to do is just extend in these pistons here. Let's see if we can't flip it like this. Okay, there we go. We're getting a little bit of flipping. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Okay, it's almost up on its side. Now I wonder, what if we bring the boom arm up now? Oh, look at that. I just saw the entire truck twist over a little bit. Okay, this is pretty tough. Now it looks like we might have gotten it up on its side. Okay, there we go. The whole thing is on its side now. So I'm thinking from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the arm up. We're going to bring our stabilizers in as well. We're going to quickly reposition this truck here, and I'm going to line it up again to the side there on the ground. And what I'm hoping is we might be able to get onto that frame and flip it over onto its wheels. Okay, this might be pretty good right here. We're going to bring the boom arm back in. We're going to get our stabilizers back out. I guess we're going to lower the arm again. Okay, whoa, okay, we might be a little close. I wonder, okay, this might work out actually. Let's see if we can just lower the hooks down. Okay, that's not too bad. There we go. And what if we just raise it up? There we go. Oh, look at that perfect hook on. Okay, so now we have the entire truck back on its wheels, and I guess now we just need to hook it up to the towing hitch. Now, there's another thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, and this is another one of the things that the Lego build has, and that is a droppable extra axle of wheels here. Now, that's just in case you're on some unlevel ground and you need a little more traction or a little more power, then of course you can drop that down. All right, so we're pretty well lined up at this point, so I am going to drop the entire boom down, and then at this position we can press 9. That is going to bring the hooks down just like so. Now, one thing you can do is you can just kind of tap the switch right there, and you can see as I tap it, it brings those hooks kind of back under the entire crane. So maybe if I just kind of get into position right there. Okay, perfect. We're hooked on, and we are lifting the truck up. So now at this point, we have the truck on the hooks, and as you can see, the frames are kind of bad. But one thing I like to do is I like to grab some pipe pieces here. We're going to grab a couple pipe pieces, and what we're going to do is we're going to secure the entire thing onto the tow truck here. So we're basically going to latch it down and properly secure it. And obviously, with a real tow truck, you would do this as well. So now we have our hooks secured, so we can kind of pretend like they were chained down or properly secured in some way. So now the next thing we need to do is hop back into the driver's seat here, and once we extend the entire boom arm, we're going to press 8. There it goes. You can see the boom arm is starting to extend backwards. The truck is backing away, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow for us to drop down our T-bar. So here we go. We just got to press that switch there, and the bar has all sorts of room to go down. And then actually no, we don't press that switch yet. The first thing we need to do is pull the car back in. I almost skipped a step. So here we go. We press 8 again, and the boom arm starts to retract, and it's going to bring those wheels all the way back in. There we go. Look at that. So everything is looking like it's in place, and those hooks are still well secured. So now we're just going to press that switch. It's going to bring those pistons up, and take a look at that. The T-bar sits right underneath the wheels perfectly, and I would say we are ready to start towing and bringing this truck back out of the mud. Here we go. Now, this truck does have a lot of power. I ended up giving it a decent amount of strength just because itself, it is extremely heavy, and you know, you definitely want to be able to go pretty fast with it, but also when you're towing something, it just adds that extra amount of weight. But look at this. The towing capacity is really good. Now, obviously, every now and then the wheels kind of pop out of the T-bar, but that's not a big deal because we have those hooks chained down as well. So we're going to make our way over to that sandy patch right there. I guess we're going to pretend like that is where this truck is supposed to go. And here we can get a good opportunity to go into first person a little bit, and you can see there is a pretty decent view in the first person of this truck here as well. But here we go. We are at the sandy pit, so let's just slow it down. We're gonna stop right there. So then the obvious thing, of course, is to do the reverse of everything we just did. So we're gonna drop down our T-bar. Take a look at that. Oh man, this is just so satisfying. So we drop the T-bar though, we hop back into the seat, and now we are going to extend the boom arm back out. And that's just going to keep on extending. Of course, it's going to push the truck away from our bar there. And then we just press that switch to lift it back up. And then it is, of course, at this point that we have to remove our chains from the truck. We got to get rid of our own equipment. So we'll go around here, quickly get rid of these little pipe pieces to free the hooks. So then from this height here, all you have to do is press 9, and that is going to lower down our cables and free those hooks just like so. And we'll make sure we don't touch the ground. And there we go. We bring them back up again, and we are ready for the next tow job. So that's going to be it for the first episode of Lego to Life in Scrap Mechanic. Again, if you have any suggestions for the next Lego build in the series, then let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this new series, then again, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you want to tune in for some more Endless Scrap Mechanic, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and maybe even turn on some notifications so you can get the latest and the craziest coming from me in Scrap Mechanic. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be seeing you in the next one. So bye for now.